Hey guys, welcome to this week's Midweek update. I gotta apologize. I left you high and dry last week. Forgot to publish the video, but we're back at it this week. Things that you need to know that are going on here at Sacred City that'll help you take your next steps in discipleship. This week, I've got a couple resources I want to highlight and one thing to let you know about that's coming up. As far as resources go, last week we got to host Porterbrook Seminar right here in our building. We brought in some. There's four or five different churches that are involved with Porterbrook Quad Cities this year, and at least a dozen. I think about a dozen people from Sacred City Moline going through Porterbrook this year. We had the opportunity to bring out Bob Thune, who's a pastor of Coram Deo Church in Omaha, Nebraska. The name should sound familiar. He has co-authored a lot of our MC curriculum, Gospel-Centered Life, Gospel-Centered Community. And I've got the opportunity to sort of like be coached by him for the last year or so. And so he came out, and one of the things I love about Bob, he's so bright, he's so smart. He has a gift of taking very complex ideas and breaking it down in a way that it's like zero depth entry. And I just love that about him. And the way that he approached the topic this year at Porterbrook, or this seminar day, was just incredible. His topic, his speech, or his talk was titled "The Mission of God and the Modern Self." And what he did was basically took he asked the question, how do we carry out the mission of God in this cultural moment? So really fascinating stuff. Really, really enjoyed it. I've actually gone back. I was there for the whole thing on Saturday, and I've gone back and I've re-listened to it because it's so good. And I think that this piece of this resource is incredible for helping us. If we as a church want to grow as disciple makers, as people who are engaging on mission, for people who are secular minded, what does it mean? What sort of things do we need to take into consideration to contextualize the gospel, to make it real, make it felt for people as we tell them about Jesus? So I highly recommend checking out that resource. You can find it. There's an audio version of it on the Sacred City Life podcast that Pastor Justin does. You can find it there, iTunes Store. Otherwise, you can find it on our YouTube page, Sacred City Moline. There's 2 sessions. Really excellent stuff, and I hope that you take time to invest in it. With that, Pastor Justin got to sit down with Bob and talk about some really interesting things. And so I would say, in addition to listening to Pastor Bob's Porterbrook presentations, you should also take time to listen to that conversation that Pastor Justin and Pastor Bob had together. Really, really interesting, fascinating stuff, and very helpful. So be sure to check that out. With that, I'll throw my own little promo for Sacred City Vision Drip. I've been trying to release one podcast a week, in addition to our sermon podcast, to help you think through some different things. And most of it's been geared, as of recent, like for hospitality, going through our identities and rhythms, talking about our DNA. And I've been trying to get into, as we're coming to the end of the year, a little bit about how to plan your years, how to plan the upcoming year, set goals and things of that nature, and then just kind of reflecting on the season of Advent. And so go check that out. Spotify, iTunes, Sacred City Vision Drip podcast. I hope you find it helpful. And if you ever have a topic that you want to hear about, something that you want me to address, hey, just send me an email, send me a message. I want to make it interesting for you. And so let me know what you want to hear about. And finally, as we're halfway through the season of Advent. We're coming up on Christmas Eve, which, of course, December 24th. We're looking forward to hosting once again our family candlelight Christmas Eve service, thing we do every year. 5:30 p.m. We scheduled a little bit early so that way you can come to Christmas Eve service with your family, get home at a decent time. Whether you're hosting your family, you're hosting some of your MC family, have a little bit of that Christmas Eve party vibe going on, and then put the kids down to bed. And so it's at 5:30 p.m. Christmas Eve here. We'll be, same sort of protocols that we've been rocking with. We'll be spread out, and we're anticipating to see fewer people. Typically, Christmas Eve has been a very well attended service that people from our community usually turn out for. I'm curious what it's going to look like this year for that service, if people are going to venture out or not, but I hope we see some new faces. And so with that, I would just encourage you to be mindful of like the space. So if you could try to get your family close together. We're going to keep it kind of consolidated time wise this year, and mostly hymns and the candlelight stuff, and then scripture readings, a little video for the kids like we normally do. But we're trying to keep it compact. And so if you can stay tight with your family and make as much space available for whoever's willing to show up, that way we can accommodate them. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite services of the year. It's such a great time. Everybody in the room together singing Christmas songs, and and it's always an adventure to see if the church is going to burn down or not. So fingers crossed, we don't, but it's part of the fun. So that's all I got this week for this week's midweek update. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I love you guys. I can't wait to see you on Sunday morning. Take care.